Hello, it's Swami Pranava. I'm assuming you're an English learner and you're at the intermediate level. You're looking for a good way to overcome the intermediate plateau. And so I have a very good method. It's given by Luca Lampariello, and I will leave a link to his videos. This method involves using a lot of input. And so I'm using a podcast, and today I'm just giving you an example. I found a nice podcast by TVO, Tiếng Việt ơi, and this is about the subject of love. And so, xin chào, mình là Thanh và mình là Phương. Cảm ơn mọi người đã quay lại với một tập tiếp theo trong series 5 Vietnam Minutes của TVO Podcast, etc. like that. Okay? And so I'm going to show you the text that I've printed. It's about a 5-minute, 6-minute video, something like that. And so I printed the text in Tiếng Việt, and I'll show you that up close in a moment. And then I've also printed a Google translation of the text in English so I can read it, so I can understand it. So I just read this, and hello, I'm Tan, and I'm Phung. Thank you everyone for coming back with another episode of the 5 Vietnam Minutes series of TVO podcasts, and so on like that. Okay, and so now I can compare the two texts. So I'm going to go into this method in a bit more detail. Okay, so in this part of the video, I am showing you the text that I have printed in Tiếng Việt. And I'm going to point to what I have compared with the English translation. So you see it says, xin chào, here, right? Mình là Thanh. Mình là Phương. Đi tiếp tục với chủ đề về tình yêu. All right, so I might not know the word tình yêu, so I just compare it with the English, right? And so I have the English here. And so, welcome to the podcast with the topic of, love is tình yêu. Now I will play some of the podcast for you, and you can listen to the Vietnamese just for a few seconds to get an idea.
Để tiếp tục với chủ đề về tình yêu, trong tập ngày hôm nay, cùng mình và Thanh học một vài từ vựng rất thú vị về tình yêu nhé.
Okay, so now you see I can listen to that, but I can keep my attention on it. I don't know all the words. I know most of the words, but I can keep my attention on it now. When I first heard it, I could not keep my attention on it, but I've improved. Now, how have I improved? I have read it both in Tiếng Việt and in English, mainly reading it in English so that I understand the meaning. And so when I read this in English, you see we're continuing with the topic of love. So see, I can read that in English and I can get the meaning very easily, very quickly. And that's really the first step. Okay, according to Luca Lampariello, you don't want to do the normal way of studying, which is listen to the audio and you can't understand it and you get frustrated and you say it's too difficult, right? The next step that's one level better is you print the transcript like I did in Vietnamese, and then I can read it in Vietnamese and I can understand it better. So let's say when I listen to the audio, maybe I understand 20%. When I read the text, maybe I understand 50%, but it's still not satisfying. But if I read it in English, I understand 100%. Then I can listen to it again in Vietnamese and read it at the same time in Vietnamese. Then I start to understand it maybe 70%. And the final step is I just listen, like I did at the beginning here, without reading at all, and I can still keep my attention on it.